네, 이제 잠시 후에 제3회 대전국제 IP컨퍼런스 개회식 축하 공연부터
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin the third Daejeon International IP Conference. According to the seasonal changes, today will be when we are going to have the first snow of the year, but the weather forecast says it's going to rain today. We are approaching the end of this year. I wish you a great end of the year, and I also wish you have accomplished all of our resolutions of this year. Welcome to the third Daejeon International IP Conference. This conference is held to strengthen the status of Korea as a leader in intellectual property. We are going to begin the opening ceremony of the conference, and please make sure you turn your cell phone into silent mode. We are going to begin with performances delivered by Lapine. We will hear a opera performance, and we will watch a play of a violin and a cello. You can take a picture of the performances. Once again, thank you very much for being with us at the third Daejeon International IP Conference. Now we are going to watch the opera and electronic string performances. We will begin with Kang Kang, a performance of a violin and a cello and opera Golden Star. I have been looking forward to the performances. Please welcome the team with a big round of applause.
아주 먼 옛날에 한 왕이 아들과 함께 살았다네. 세상을 두려워하면서 늘 왕자 걱정에 잠들 수가 없었지. 성벽을 높이고 문도 굳게 닫았네. 어느 날 바람결에 실려온 그리움, 혼자 있는 왕자에게 속삭였네. 북두칠성 빛나는 밤에 하늘을 봐, 황금별이 떨어질 거야. 황금별이 떨어질 때면 그 별을 찾아 떠나야 해. 널 기다리는 세상을 향해. 왕은 말하곤 했지. 이 세상은 좌절로 가득 찼다. 넌 여기 남아 있어야 해. 널 사랑하기에 지키겠다 하셨네. 성벽을 높이고 문도 굳게 닫았네. 하지만 뛰는 가슴 멈추지 않아. 왕잔 성벽 넘어 세상 꿈꾸었네. 자유길 떠나 저 성벽 넘어 세상을 향해서 여행을 떠나야 해. 험한 세상 너 사는 이유, 그 모든 걸 알고 싶다면 너 혼자 여행 떠나야만 하. 사랑이란 구속하지 않는 것, 사랑은 자유롭게 놓아주는 것, 때로는 아픔도 감수해야 해. 사랑은 눈물, 그것이 사랑. 황금별이 떨어질 때면 그 별을 찾으러 여행을 떠나야 해. 북두칠성 빛나는 밤에 저 높은 성벽을 넘어서 아무도 가보지 못한 그곳으로 저 세상을 향해서
네, 고맙습니다.
Thank you very much. It was a beautiful performance. So we've just watched performances delivered by Lapine. They played Kangkang, a performance of a violin and cello, and we heard a number of the musical called Mozart. And Mozart wrote this song and lyrics, dreaming of a better world. Once again, I wish you have all your wishes come true. I hope you enjoyed the performances. Now, when the distinguished guests are entering the hall, we will hear another performance, another song called Beautiful Country. Please make sure your cell phone is turned into a vibration mode. Ladies and gentlemen, now the VIPs are entering the hall. Please welcome them with a big round of applause.
지식재산 허브도시
Now we are gathered here for the third Daejeon International IP Conference, a hub of international intellectual property. Please welcome the distinguished guests with a big round of applause.
네, 여러분께서 함께
Once again, thank you so much for being with us. I think we have a bigger audience in this conference compared to last year. Now we will watch another congratulatory performance delivered by Deliver. The lyrics express the beauty of Korea. The title of the song is Beautiful Country. Please welcome WIPNEWS with a warm round of applause.
저 산자락에 긴 노을 지며 걸음걸음 살며시 달님이 오시네. 밤 달빛에도 참 어여뻐라. 골목골목서 남자는 빛을 반기네. 겨울같이 오롯이 앉으면 그 포근한 흰빛이 샌바람도 타오르니 참 아름다운 나의 꿈이니 이 땅에 태어나서 행복한 내가 아니냐. 긴 바다 있고 푸른 하늘 가진 이 땅 위에 사는 나는 행복한 사람 아니냐. 강물빛 소리 산낙엽 소리 천지사방이 고우니 즐겁지 않은가. 바람도 소리 들풀 쳤는 소리 아픈 청춘도 오니 마음 즐겁지 않은가. 참 아름다운 나의 꿈이니 이 땅에 태어나서 행복한 내가 아니냐. 긴 바다 있고 푸른 하늘 가진 이 땅 위에 사는 나는 행복한 사람 아니냐. 그 추위를 견뎌낸 나무의 뿌리가 봄비를 나무로 부르다. 푸르게 저 푸르게 수많이 불피워내 안지기로 하늘까지 뻗어라. 많은 꿈이 있는 이 땅에 태어나서 행복한 내가 아니냐. 긴 바다 있고 푸른 하늘 가진 이 땅 위에 사는 나는 행복한 사람 아니냐. 아름다운 나라.
네, 고맙습니다. 고맙습니다.
Thank you very much for a beautiful performance. It was a performance delivered by Lapine. The title of the song is Beautiful Country. We also saw the beauty of Daejeon City on the screen. Hopefully you enjoyed the performance. Most of you in the audience must have been born in Daejeon and grew up in Daejeon, so you must be very impressed by the performance. Let me introduce myself. Good morning, everyone. I'm the MC of the 3rd Daejeon International IP Conference. I'm Park Jung-hee. It's nice to see you. The conference is held to look into international trends and issues in intellectual property to keep up with the era of digital transformation. To strengthen Korea's status as a leader in intellectual property, this conference is being held. This year marks the 3rd year of the conference. Thank you very much for being with us. The conference is co-hosted by Daejeon Metropolitan City and Korean Intellectual Property Office and organized by 대전테크노파크 and Korea Invention Promotion Association. We are gathering here in Daejeon, a hub of intellectual property. Now we will begin the opening ceremony of the conference.
네.
Once again, we gathered here in Daejeon, a hub of intellectual property. We are going to share values of intellectual property in this conference. Let me briefly introduce you the distinguished guests who are being with us today. First, we have Lee Seok-bong, Vice Mayor for Economic Affairs and Science of Daejeon City with us. We also have Kim Ji-soo, Director General of Patent Examination Policy Bureau at KIPO. We have Park Bong-ge, National Assemblyman of Democratic Party of Korea. We also have Park Young-sun, National Assemblyman of Democratic Party of Korea. We have Kim Yong-seok, Patent Court Chief Judge, with us. Im Hong-moon, President of 대전테크노파크, is here with us. Son Young-woo, CEO of Korea Invention Promotion Association, is here with us today. Kenichiro Natsume, Assistant Director General at WIPO, is here with us. Thank you very much for being with us. We have Pao Medrano Gracia, Director of Commercialization at the University of Auckland, with us today. We also have Kang Byung-sam, President of Korea Innovation Foundation, with us.
한국 특허 전략
We have Lee Jae-woo, President of Korea Intellectual Property Strategy Agency. We also have Chang Kwan-ho, CEO of Korea Institute of Intellectual Property Promotion, with us. Kang Kyung-ho, CEO of Korea Institute of Patent Information, is here with us. We have Son Sung-woo, President of Korea Institute of Intellectual Property, with us today. Thank you very much for your precious time. Why don't you give each other a big round of applause to celebrate the beginning of this conference. Now we are going to pledge allegiance to the national flag. Please stand and look at the national flag on the screen.
자유롭고 정의로운 대한민국의 무궁한 영광을 위하여 충성을 다할 것을 굳게 다짐합니다.
At ease, please be seated.
이장우
Next, we would like to invite Mayor Lee Jang-woo of Daejeon Metropolitan City for welcoming remarks. Today, we are going to be with the AI avatar of the mayor. Please welcome him with a big round of applause. I would like to welcome you all, distinguished guests, to the third Daejeon International IP Conference. Daejeon is by no doubt Korea's representative intellectual property hub. Centered around Daedok Special Zone, 40 research institutions, Korea's largest R&D companies, intellectual property office, IP court, and IP-related public institutions are located in Daejeon. Especially this year, Korea Intellectual Property Strategy Agency was relocated to Daejeon, and the Patent Information Promotion Center was upgraded to Korea Institute of Intellectual Property Promotion. I am truly honored and pleased to host this conference to let you know about Daejeon and to have domestic and international IP leaders here. In the era of Industry 4.0, intellectual property provides the source of future industry growth, and it will bring about the development and prosperity of the world. Creating and protecting such intellectual property is our task that should be done all together. We hope to cooperate closely with you in the area of intellectual property, and I ask for your great interest and support for our city administration activities. I hope that this conference gives you a meaningful opportunity to solve IP-related issues and cooperate with each other for innovation. Thank you very much, and I wish all of you good health and success.
오늘 AI 아바타로
Thank you very much. Today, we listen to the welcoming remarks of the AI avatar of the mayor of Daejeon.
특허청의
Now I'm going to invite Kim Ji-soo, Director General of Patent Examination Policy Bureau at KIPO. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
안녕하십니까?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kim Ji-soo, Director General of Patent Examination Policy Bureau at KIPO. The commissioner was supposed to be here, but he has another task at the National Assembly, so he couldn't make it today. I apologize for that. And I was born in Daejeon, grew up in Daejeon, so it is my honor to be here with you. In Daejeon, the world-class city, we are hosting the third Daejeon International IP Conference. It is my great honor to be part of the conference. I'd like to thank National Assemblyman Park Bong-ge and Bang Yong-sun, and Vice Mayor of Economic Affairs and Science Lee Sok-bong, and President of 대전테크노파크 Im Hong-moon, and Kenichiro Natsume, the Assistant Director General at WIPO. Thank you very much for being with us. My thanks also go to the citizens of Daejeon for being with us today. I'd like to congratulate you, the award winners of the Man of Merits in Intellectual Property today. Daejeon is a hub of intellectual property. It is an innovative city. It is home to many innovative research centers, and most of the national intellectual property agencies are gathered in Daejeon. Daejeon has been working on innovative policies and has converged science and technology to grow further as a hub of international intellectual property. I hope this conference will be a success. In this conference, we are going to discuss digital transformation and innovative technology and future industries. KIPO has been supporting Daejeon and has been working with Daejeon Metropolitan City to increase cooperation between KIPO and Daejeon Metropolitan City. I wish Daejeon will continue to grow and Kipo will continue to give its full support to Daejeon Metropolitan City. We are going to strengthen the digital cooperation at the global level. Lastly, I'd like to thank all the people who have worked hard for making today's conference possible. I wish Daejeon citizens and everyone in this conference health and happiness. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was Kim Ji-soo, Director General at KIPO. He emphasized the meanings of this conference.
해주신
Next, I would like to invite Mr. Park Bom-ge, the member of Korea National Assembly. Please welcome him with a big round of applause. Nice to meet you all. I am Park Bom-ge, a member of Korea National Assembly. Today, we're having this important symposium related to intellectual property in Daejeon. I sincerely would like to extend my gratitude and congratulations for the opening of the conference. Mr. Lee Seok-bong, the Deputy Mayor of Daejeon, Mr. Kim Yong-seok, the President of Patent Court of Korea, and Honorable Member of the Korean National Assembly, Park Yong-sun, and Mr. Kenichiro Natsumi from WIPO. Thank you for your presence, and I would like to thank you all for your presence here. Intellectual Property Office of Korea is located in Daejeon as one of the central government agencies. This is not an agency of the municipal Daejeon government, but a central government agency. And still, it's very meaningful to hold this IP conference in cooperation with Daejeon City. When I was the Minister of Justice in Korea, I met with the former Prime Minister Trudeau before, and that Prime Minister said that Korea became one of the 10th largest economies in the world based on the innovative technologies centered around human. He mentioned that Korea is such an exemplary case, and I have a dream like having a Silicon Valley of the US here in Daejeon in Korea. Just like Silicon Valley of the US, we can have intellectual property related industry, the mecca of such industry in Daejeon. Korea has small territories. Korea is a divided country, and we don't have sufficient natural resources, but we have excellent human resources. The excellent human resources are concentrated to Daejeon in the research institutes, academic sectors, and industries. This is why we can create a wonderful mecca of intellectual property industry, just like the Silicon Valley of the US. The IP Office of Korea, the Patent Court of Korea, and other related government agencies will need to make close cooperation with each other to achieve this dream. And Park Yong-sun is a parliamentarian as a member of the Commission of Industry and Trade. I myself and Park Yong-sun participated in the efforts to adopt punitive laws related to protection of trademarks and copyrights, and even if the intellectual property rights are infringed upon, it is important to provide the necessary legal rescue and protection systems to the intellectual property owners. And I would like to congratulate again the opening of this International IP Conference, and I hope that Daejeon will become a Silicon Valley of intellectual property industry. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Parliamentarian Park Bom-ge gave us the very good warm welcoming remarks, and we will soon be able to achieve that dream of making Daejeon a mecca of intellectual property industry.
맞아주시기 바랍니다.
Now we are going to turn to Park Young-sun, National Assemblyman of the Democratic Party of Korea, for his congratulatory remark. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
여러분 반갑습니다.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Park Young-sun. I'm a member of the Trade, Industry, Energy, SMEs, and Startup Commission of the National Assembly. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on the opening of the third Daejeon International IP Conference. My thanks go to Vice Mayor Lee Seok-bong for Economic Affairs and Science of Daejeon City and all the people who made this conference possible. Korea is the world's sixth largest manufacturer in the world. In the face of the fourth industrial revolution, Korea is taking the most out of its manufacturing power. And Korea is also strong in cultural assets and contents. Compared to its GDP, Korea has the highest number of intellectual property patents. We are living in an era where intellectual property matters. In 2019, Korea became the world's seventh country that had more than 2 million patents related to intellectual property. It took only 9 years to reach the mark of 2 million in 2019. Every year we are seeing application of 200,000 patents. And the quality of patents related to intellectual property in Korea is going up. Against this backdrop, we have to think about the conflicts involving IP. And here, the government is expected to play a bigger role. And we also need to come up with more international norms and rules to resolve any potential conflicts related to IP. I hope we can have in-depth discussion on those matters in this conference. Daejeon Metropolitan City is the hub of intellectual property in Korea. It is a home to patent court and government-funded R&D research centers. Daejeon is also a city of science and city of intellectual property and a city of innovation. In that sense, it is very meaningful that the third Daejeon International IP Conference is co-hosted by Daejeon City and KIPO. I wish you more success. We will hear a keynote speech which will be about the current status and prospects of global innovative technology. And I will do my best at the National Assembly to give you my full support. Thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you so much for your warm congratulatory remark.
법원
Lastly, I would like to invite Mr. Kim Yong-seok, the President of Korea Patent Court of Korea, for the welcoming remarks. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Chief Judge of the Patent Court of Korea. Today, I would like to congratulate the hosting of the third Daejeon International IP Conference being hosted jointly by the Korea IP Intellectual Property Office and the Patent Court of Korea. I would like to thank Mr. Lee Jang-woo, the Mayor of Daejeon Metropolitan City, and the President of Daejonte크노파크, and many other officials and staff for preparing for this conference. In Daejeon, we have Patent Court of Korea and many other public institutions related to intellectual property. We also have research centers, universities, and industries with innovative advanced technologies. And we are holding this IP conference in Daejeon, which is much more meaningful than ever. And we sincerely support the vision of Daejeon to become the hub of global IP industry. In the knowledge-based industry, innovative tech industries will lead the growth of the future industries. And the key is to protect the values of intellectual property. And the theme of the symposium is especially very meaningful considering the current trend. Industries, research sectors, academic sectors, and industries can come together in this conference to have in-depth discussion. Our mission is to provide substantial protection to the patent rights and intellectual property rights. This requires the deep understanding on science technologies, and it requires the insight and wisdom in terms of laws as well. So we have made ceaseless efforts to globalize our patent protection activities, and as the IP specialized court of Korea, we will continue to make efforts. I hope that this conference will help the intellectual property related experts from home and abroad to share their experience and knowledge on intellectual property areas. And I would like to congratulate the successful opening of this conference again. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much. The Chief Judge of the Patent Court of Korea delivered us congratulatory remarks. And I also believe this conference will be useful for all participants.
축전을 보내주셨.
Now, a congratulatory message was sent by National Assemblyman. Congratulations on the opening of the third Daejeon International IP Conference. We are living in the super connected world. I believe the conference will be a platform and a venue where we share values of intellectual property. I wish you had a great chance to discuss in-depth intellectual property. I wish you all the very best.
여러분 이어가도록 하겠습니다. 대전
Now we're going to hold the awarding ceremony. We are going to award two types of commendations. The first one is the commendation to be given by Daejeon Metropolitan City. On behalf of the mayor, the deputy mayor will give the award. Please come to the stage when your names are called. Mr. Jung Seung-won, Kim Gi-uk from 대전테크노파크, Kim Myung-soon from TR. Please welcome them with a big round of applause. This is the commendation from the mayor of Daejeon Metropolitan City. First of all, Mr. Jung Seung-won. Letter of commendation, Jung Seung-won from Korea IP Promotion Agency. In recognition of your passion and creativity for helping Korean companies enter overseas market with IP protection, we give you this commendation. This commendation is given by the mayor of Daejeon Metropolitan City. Congratulations. Next, Kim Gi-uk. Letter of commendation. Kim Gi-uk from Daejeon Technopark. In recognition of your creativity and passion for your work and your contribution to promoting the intellectual property industry, we award you this commendation. Congratulations. And next, Mr. Kim Byung-soon. Letter of commendation. Kim Byung-soon from TR. You have made great contribution to facilitating the development of medical devices and made contribution to creating and using intellectual property related to medical device data. In recognition of such contribution, we give you this commendation. Congratulations to all three of the awardees. We're going to take a commemorative photo. Please open the commendation for photo session. Thank you very much. Please face the camera. Please give them a warm round of applause again. So the three awardees received the commendation from the Mayor of Daejeon Metropolitan City. Now we're going to award the commendation of intellectual property from Korea Intellectual Property Office. On behalf of the Commissioner, we are going to invite Park Young-jun from SLM and Lee Yoo-min to the stage. Please give them a warm round of applause. These two awardees will receive the commendation from the Commissioner of Korea Intellectual Property Office, Mr. Park Young-jun. Letter of commendation. Park Young-jun from SLM. You developed the in-water hull cleaning robot and made great contribution to the development of the relevant industry. The Commissioner of Korea Intellectual Property Office gives the award. And Lee Yoo-min, letter of commendation. Lee Yoo-min from Information Society Promotion Agency. In recognition of your creativity and passion for your work and for your contribution to the intellectual property industry, we give you this commendation. Thank you very much and congratulations. We're going to take a commemorative photo. Thank you very much for your contribution, and please open the commendation and face the camera. Thank you very much. You may go back to your seat, and we're going to take the commemorative photo. All VIPs and distinguished guests, please come to the stage for commemorative photo. We're going to take a commemorative photo with the VIPs, and then we will listen to the keynote address. And participants, please stay in your seat. In Daejeon, the hub of intellectual property, we're having this meaningful symposium. This is the third International IP Conference, and I thank you all for your participation. We will take the photo 3 times. We'll take a photo once, and then we will make the fighting, the cheering pose, and then we'll take the last photo with clapping of our hands. The third International IP Conference in Daejeon is being held, and we thank all of you for your presence here. Now we are taking a commemorative photo. Please face the camera. Now make a cheering pose. I'm going to say IP Hub City, and distinguished guests and audience, please say Daejeon. When I say IP Hub City, you are supposed to say Daejeon. IP Hub City, Daejeon. And let us take one last photo with clapping our hands. The Mecca of intellectual property, Daejeon. Here in Daejeon, we are holding this conference, and thank you very much for your cooperation. With this, we will close the opening ceremony of the third Daejeon International IP Conference. We will set the stage for keynote address.
소중한 시간 함께해 주신 모든 내빈 여러분.
Thank you very much for your time today. Before we start the conference, we watched congratulatory performances. On the first floor of the building, we are displaying products and services of intellectual property. Please take a look at them. And please visit booths on the first floor. Once again, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you have great time in the conference. Before we start the keynote speech, let me make housekeeping announcements. The conference will be in Korean, and we are providing simultaneous translation service. And we are also providing translation receivers, which are placed in the back of the room. Please turn to channel number 1 for Korean and channel number 2 for English. Please make sure your cell phones are turned into vibration mode, and this conference is being live streamed via YouTube.
함께 하도록 하겠습니다. 앞쪽
Then we're going to move on to the keynote session. All the participants, please move to the front rows and be seated.
네, 뒤쪽에도 발표 자료집도 마련이 되어 있으니까요.
We prepared the booklets and program books at the back of the conference room, so please refer to them as well.
네, 오늘 오전에 기조
In the morning, we prepared keynote address and special lecture, and from 1 p.m., we will listen to the second and third special lectures. And on the first floor in the exhibition hall, intellectual property related companies are exhibiting their solutions.
네, 그러면 기조연설
Then we would like to invite the keynote address speaker. In this very important conference, we have Mr. Kenichiro Natsumi, the Assistant Director General of WIPO. He's going to make a presentation on the current status and prospects of global innovative technology.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, and thank you very much for the Mayor of Daejeon, Mr. Lee Jung-woo, even though that was the avatar, which is pretty relevant because we are talking about the latest technology and frontier technology. And dear delegates and colleagues and friends, 안녕하십니까? 제 이름은 켄나츠메입니다. It is my great honor to participate in the third Daejeon International IP Conference. I'd like to thank the Daejeon Metropolitan City, the Korean Intellectual Property Office, Patent Code, the Daejeon Metropolitan Technopark, and for all the colleagues who invited me to participate in this very important and valuable meeting today. Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. We are here to talk about some innovations, and the term which used at our organization from time to time, we call the technologies as frontier technologies. The global economy is increasingly driven by innovation. We see rapid advancements across diverse technology fields, including frontier technologies as well as digitalization. Frontier technologies are emerging at the intersection of radical scientific breakthrough and real-world implementation. Artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, big data, blockchain, metaverse, and more seem to be incredibly complicated. However, they represent huge opportunities, and they are changing our lives, our services, and our roles. It also affects how we communicate, how we innovate, how we create, and how we do our businesses. And they hold one of the keys to addressing some of the most pressing global issues we face today. While AI, artificial intelligence, is already more than 60 years old, it has only recently been blossoming into the general purpose technology that is driving innovation and growth across all sectors and industries. And technologies such as metaverse, that began life in the science fiction novel just about 30 years ago, are on its way to becoming a reality. So technology is coming into reality. In this world, let's have a look at the economic impact of those technologies. The impact on the technologies which are considered as frontier technologies, according to the Technology and Innovation Report 2021 by the United Nations, it represents around $350 billion in terms of the market size back in 2018, and it's expected to grow up to $3.2 trillion by 2025. So it's a massive jump. If we look at the market size, the Internet of Things is currently the largest, followed by big data, technologies, robotics, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, and 5G technologies. If you look at the Internet of Things market, is expected to grow from $130 billion in 2018 to $1.5 trillion in 2025. Big data is in the second place, which was in 2017 $32 billion and expected to grow $157 billion in 2026. However, if we look at the artificial intelligence field, AI, it was about $16 billion equivalent market back in 2017, but it is expected to grow $191 billion market size already in 2024, which surpasses big data market. So AI, as you can imagine, is rapidly expanding its market size. And I don't go into details of all the figures such as blockchain, but let me touch upon the metaverse, which is not written here, but according to the World Bank, the total global market size of the metaverse was in 2020 already $4.69 billion equivalent, and it's expected to grow 43.3% every year between 2022 and 2027. So it's continuously expected to grow in a very significant increasing ratio. So this is an impact of in terms of economy with regard to the technology, frontier technologies per se. Now, let me have a look at the aspect in terms of the relationship between intellectual property, which is why we're here today, and intellectual property and frontier technologies. World Intellectual Property Report 2022 edition, which we publish every year. According to that report, it shows that digital-related innovation is growing 170%, faster than all other patent categories over last 5 years. So digital-related field, including, which is also considered as one of the frontier technologies, is expanding quite massively, even when we look at not only the economic field, but also in terms of the patent. So therefore, we can say it's clear that the rapidly changing environment, in that situation, an intellectual property regime is gaining more and more importance than ever. Intellectual property rights, including patents, trademarks, brands, designs, and other types of protection, that is for innovations and creations, these are the key drivers of development and growth. And these can help businesses, startups, innovators, and creators worldwide to unlock tangible value from their intangible assets. So let's have a little bit closer look at some of the highlighted technological fields, such as artificial intelligence and metaverse. Before that, let me have a quick snapshot about the patent trends, because we're talking about the technologies of frontier technologies. As you can see on the left-hand side, the growth of the technologies, for example, in this case, artificial intelligence, the patenting in artificial intelligence related field is growing 718%, faster than average of other technological fields. So it's quite massive. And that is followed by big data, which is pretty much close to 700%. It's not 7%, 700%, so 7 times more. So these technologies are quite rapidly growing, and it's quite promising. And of course, we all know that Dijon is a techno hub, IP hub, so it's quite relevant to have a look at these technologies. So, artificial intelligence. It's quite relatively self-evident that artificial intelligence and intellectual property are becoming more and more relevant to more people and economies around the world. And that intellectual property and the growth of global IP ecosystem play pivotal roles in fostering AI innovation. Within that framework, AI innovation represents an immense economic opportunity, but also many questions for the existing IP system. As you might know, artificial intelligence can do things quite semi or almost autonomously. That means the role of artificial intelligence increases, which could at the same time mean the human input in the innovation process would decrease, or at least that it changes. In such a situation, AI inventions raise practical issues. Those include, for example, the question of inventorship, disclosure requirements, or how the use of artificial intelligence affects what is inventive or obvious. Looking at the underlying principles and social purposes of the patent system, there are significant questions about inventorship, for example, of AI-generated inventions. As you can see by the case of patent applications filed in different jurisdictions all over the globe, which names artificial intelligence as the inventor. As you may know, in most jurisdictions, the current legal framework assumes that inventors or recognize inventors as human beings. So it has not yet considered as an artificial intelligence as the inventor. But the question is already there because that it's coming, and there are actual filings in multiple jurisdictions. And there are some cases made by the court and the appeal body in the patent office in different jurisdictions. So it's not an issue of the art science fiction, it's the real problems or real issues which we are facing right now. Then let's have a look at the metaverse space. And as we have seen in the opening of this conference, the mayor of this Daejeon metropolitan city appeared in the avatar, which often appears in the metaverse space. By the way, metaverse and avatar has been first used back in one of the science fiction about 30 years ago. At that time, probably nobody paid much attention to those, but now it's coming to the real world. So in that sense, it's quite relevant for us to talk about the avatar and metaverse, and I'm quite happy to see the avatar representation this morning here in Daejeon metropolitan city. And back to the metaverse. Metaverse is predicted to create new digital world, opening up the digital economy to never seen before ways to create work, play, educate, and consume. The metaverse, unsurprisingly, has a multitude of touch points to the IP system as well. While the metaverse is still being shaped, legal and IP issues are already beginning to emerge. For example, you may have heard a couple of dispute cases in other jurisdictions. For example, the example of the virtual Birkin bags and NFTs. Birkin bags is well known for the fashion brand from France, Hermès. And there is an artist who created the virtual Birkin bag-like bag in digital field, which is linked to the NFT, and he sold it. And he made a good sales. And of course, Hermès company considered this is relatively problematic. It went into the court case. So now they are discussing or disputing. And similar case can be found in the example of the Nike sneakers. There is another vendor who linked the Nike sneakers and NFTs, which is linked to the Nike sneakers. And again, the trademark issues kicked in, not in the real world, but in the cyberspace. So the actual cases are happening, and it's also clear that the questions of enforcement of IP rights and jurisdiction will become more relevant in the virtual world, because in our real world, we have jurisdictions based on the physical locations, but we talk about the metaverse space. What the jurisdiction would be? Would it be the venue where the server is located? But for example, if we use the blockchain technologies, the information is scattered all around the world. So it's also difficult to decide the location of the machine itself, for example. And trademark registration issues in relation to virtual goods will also accentuated by the growth of the metaverse. And it's already been recognized, and some IP national offices are already updating their guidelines to better accommodate the digital environment. And I'm happy to share the information probably you are already aware of, that the Korean Intellectual Property Office, KIPO, located here in Daejeon, is at the front of the issue with having introduced new trademark guidelines on the examination of virtual goods, which entered into force this past July this year. Similarly, at WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, we are also making efforts together with the member states. And when the applicant files the trademark protection, they usually specify which field. And starting from January 1 next year, 2023, our new trademark classification explanation include, for example, downloadable digital files authenticated by non-fungible tokens, NFTs, in one of the classifications, which is related to a computer program. And actually, the industries are already acting. So taking a sneaker as an example, in the traditional way, it considers that it's enough to seek the protection of the trademark in the field of shoes or footwear, which corresponds to one of the area that is the shoes and footwear field, class 25. But now they are filing the trademark application, not only footwear protection, but also the computer program or entertainment or advertisement in the virtual field. So players are already acting, and IP offices and relevant public sectors are already acting to tackle this issue. Then let me turn into a little bit more into the IP tools and IP administration area, which is related to our day-to-day procedure. While the new technologies are being generated, they are also adding an additional layer of technical complexity to the intellectual property system. These relates to rising globalization and acceleration of intellectual property, shortening the innovation cycle, interdisciplinary nature of technologies, and emergence of new tools in IP management and administration. And here at World Intellectual Property Organization, we have been providing tools powered by artificial intelligence, for example, machine translation, which is available in multiple languages. We also have the speech-to-text. So when we have the conference at WIPO, the interventions like this is automatically transformed into text, and that is available online, which is also translated into 6 official UN languages with the use of AI-trained translation engine. And we also have several databases which is also supported by the AI-assisted tools. One of the examples is the image similarity search. So when you have the brand or marks, and you can just drag and drop your image, and this image will be searched in our databases to present you the possible similar images, taking into account the AI-assisted tools. To harness the power of frontier technologies through IP services, again, KIPO is already successfully adopting new technologies to better assist innovators and creators to make IP easier to use, to transact, to value, and to benefit from by establishing agreements and creating synergies with related institutions. By investing heavily in building up the IP expertise for over 30 years and working with diverse institutions and organizations on the ground, it is pretty much notable that this Daejeon metropolitan city has created an IP ecosystem that connects with creators, innovators, entrepreneurs, startups, small and medium enterprises, researchers, and communities who are working in Daejeon and beyond. Speaking about Daejeon, let me take this opportunity to touch upon this country, the Republic of Korea, as well as the metropolitan city of Daejeon, because it's deeply encouraging that policymakers and innovators in the Republic of Korea are paying increasing attention to intimate connections between a well-managed IP rights and strong economic performance. As seen in the slide, as a result, the Republic of Korea is well positioned as one of the top innovative economies worldwide. It's ranked at the top in the Southeast Asia, East Asia, and Oceanian region, according to the Global Innovation Index, which we publish every year. And even in the whole world, the Republic of Korea is ranked at 6th position. And if we look at the patent, international patent, the Republic of Korea is ranked at 5 with our international global patent filing system. And according to the WIPE technology trend, which is back in 2019, but which is specifically for the artificial intelligence, a couple of Korean companies like Samsung Electronics and LG Electronics are among the leading global technology firms. And Samsung Electronics is one of the top leaders in AI patenting across different AI fields. Looking at Daejeon, this city, Daejeon is, as we already know, has earned its name as already, I think, Asia's Silicon Valley, or high-tech city, or IP hub. It is quite impressive how it is empowering enterprise, public agencies, innovators, and creators in unlocking tangible value from their intangible assets through the intellectual property assets. For example, Daejeon is found to be the third most science technology intensive cluster. The science technology intensive cluster means the total amount, sum of the patent and scientific publications shares divided by population. So the density or the intensiveness of the IP-related activities or technological innovative activities here in Daejeon is quite high. It's quite impressive. And of course, it's the highest number in terms of in this country. And as you know, there are famous, well-known research institutes, and ITRI and KAIST are among top public research organizations in the AI field again. And let me touch upon a little bit different field from the technology, because technologies are very important. But if we look at the real businesses, technology is not only the key. This is because when the consumers make a decision to buy the products, of course, technology is important, but often design and brand matters. For example, if people have different choices of the mobile phones, technologically speaking, it's pretty much the same, but design is different. And if you have nice, cool design of the mobile phone, then you might want to buy it. In that sense, it's my great pleasure to mention on that one of the Korean companies, in this case Samsung Electronics, has been at the top users of our international industry design protection system. It's been at the top ranking for 5 years in a row. So this is an interesting evidence that Korean industries think not only the technologies, but they consider the importance of other intellectual property such as industrial designs, probably brand as well. While I didn't have enough time to update the slide, yesterday in Geneva time, so probably earlier this morning, we have published the latest statistics, World Intellectual Property Indicator. So let me take this opportunity to share some of the information which has just been published. With regard to the patent application, not only the international patent application, but also including domestic patent application, the Republic of Korea once again positioned on the 4th ranked in the entire world. The thing which I'd like to mention is that Republic of Korea saw 2.5% increase. Do you think it's big or not? It's not big. But some other countries, for example, United States and Japan, they have already seen the decrease in terms of the number of patent applications, around 1%. But here in the Republic of Korea, still it's increasing. So this is significant. The activities in terms of the innovation is still increasing, and this is a pretty good sign for the country. So I'm pretty much impressed. And again, as seen in the technology-intensive cluster, if we look at the figures of the patents per global domestic products and population, again, the Republic of Korea is at the top in the whole world. So in terms of the density, intensity, the activities, innovative activities of the Republic of Korea is quite intense. So this is another testimony that the industries, startups, innovative companies are doing quite active effort to make the intangible asset outcomes of innovative activities into the actual form of the protection of intellectual property. Since I mentioned the industrial design, let me touch upon the industrial design as well. The Republic of Korea is ranked at the number 4th position in the entire world, so it's top in the Asian region. So one of the top in the Asian region, so it's quite impressive. So with that, let's move on to another element, which is about our organization, the World Intellectual Property Organization. So our mission is to bring the intellectual property beneficial, useful, actually making or changing the life or contribute to the development. So bring the intellectual property alive. While the technologies and overall environments around the world are getting more and more complex, the intellectual property will continue to be a key to driving them forward, but we have to rethink our role. Why? Because in order to be able to harness the full potential of the fourth industrial revolution, as mentioned in the opening remarks several times, and in order to spread it in all parts of the world, intellectual property must become understandable and available to all, not only to the IP expert, but to all, by shifting from the technical vertical of interest only to a handful of IP specialists, to bringing IP closer to communities around us and giving intangible assets tangible value. In helping this shift, WIPO is translating its insights and strategies into cooperative actions and changing the way that we work and rely on support on its member states as well as different stakeholders and players like you for here today. Together with you, we are now building more inclusive IP ecosystem that engages not just with IP experts, and professionals only, but also with women, and I'm happy to see one of the winners of the award was awarded to women, youth, students, even small kids, entrepreneurs, startups, SMEs, researchers, indigenous peoples, and all other communities around the world to help them benefit from the technological wave. With that, to enable that change, we are designing new projects and practical tools, as I mentioned before, and continue engaging with the widest possible set of stakeholders through our interactions, not only with the member states, but also with various different stakeholders. And that is why we have been convening so-called WIPE conversation on intellectual property and frontier technologies. This is a venue where not only the member states, but also all the stakeholders can get together, share the information, exchange their views, or make some debates together freely without any legal binding nature at this stage. We have conducted several sessions already. The previous sessions included themes such as artificial intelligence, data and tools for IP management administration, and so forth. And we have done 6 sessions so far. And next one is coming in next year, the beginning of next year, 2023, March 29 and 30. And I would like to take this opportunity to extend my personal open invitation to you to join the upcoming 7 sessions, which we focus on IP and metaverse. And if you have a look at the WIPO website, you will find the information. Unfortunately, the detail is still under consideration, so please be alerted, and we will publish the updated information in due course, probably in the beginning of next year. So with that, I'd like to acknowledge the importance of the conference, this conference, and pay tribute to the organizers of this timely and very important event. At World Intellectual Property Organization, we look forward to continuing our work together in the years ahead, or maybe in the months or in the weeks ahead. I wish you informative and fruitful, exciting and inspiring discussions coming up right after my presentation today. Thank you very much. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you very much for your keynote address. Thank you very much for coming to Korea a long way from your own country. Thank you very much. He also emphasized the role of WIPO, and it was an insightful keynote address. We were able to learn more about the global technological trends as well. Please give him a warm round of applause. Thank you.
네. 또 이렇게 한국어로 고맙습니다.
He also said thank you in Korean. I really appreciate that. Now we are moving to the next speaker, who is the Director of Commercialization at the University of Auckland. Paul Medrano Gracia will give us a special lecture. So please refer to the program book for more information, and please welcome him with a big round of applause.
Hello, good morning. Or like we say in New Zealand, Kia ora. My name is Pau, and I'm one of the directors of commercialization at the University of Auckland. I would like to thank the City of Daejeon and the organizers of this conference for inviting me here and share with you some of the how we manage IP at the University of Auckland and how we commercialize that IP. So thank you for having me. So just a little bit of context first. So New Zealand is a small country. We have about 4.5 million people. We have 8 large universities, and I am with the largest university in New Zealand, the University of Auckland. Our technology transfer office is a little different. It was separated from the university about 30 years ago. And I think that's partly why we've been successful in commercializing IP, because we've been separate from the university from the first day. So our technology transfer office is called Uni Services, and as I said, is a separate company. It operates as a private company, and it's 100% owned by the University of Auckland. So all of the IP that comes out of the 2,000 researchers that we have at the university comes through to our office. We have about 500 people working for Uni Services. What we do is we provide that sort of interface between academia and industry. And over the years, we've commercialized a lot of technologies, and I'll show you some of them later. So one of the other differences about Uni Services is that we have the ability to invest as any other early stage investor in any startup or any company that has a connection to the University of Auckland. So we can not only invest or transfer the IP, but we can also invest in cash or money directly into the company as any other venture capital firm. So we have a $20 million evergreen fund. Evergreen here means that all of the exits, when we make an exit from an investment, the money comes back to the fund. And recently, last week, this was doubled to $40 million now. So if you just look at the fund we've had for the last 6 years, we now have a portfolio of more than 40 companies. I believe it's 43. And the value, the book value of those companies, as the auditors told us, was $74 million. So I guess this proves our sort of track record in setting up companies and making investments in technology. 4 of them have exited during this period, and as I mentioned before, that exit money we use then to reinvest. It goes back into the fund, and we use that to invest in further companies. So how does this work? How do we do it, right? So just wanted to give you a high-level summary of how we operate internally. And I'd be very happy to talk to you after this and compare methods and notes with you. So we obviously get a lot of ideas come through our researchers. We ask that they don't publish their ideas if they think that there could be some commercial application or use. We use an idea disclosure pipeline where the ideas come to us and we look at them and we triage or screen the ideas for commercial value. So some of those will then go on to become licenses to industry. Some of them there's the right team, might go into a new company. And some of them are maybe too early, and then we advise researchers to maybe seek further funding to take their idea a bit further before we can commercialize it. And so, depending on where that idea takes us, we might end up in a successful company that might be IPO'd or exited, or we might have a stream of royalties that come through a licensing, or both as well. So the way we communicate this to our researchers is, I think, and I used to be a scientist, so I understand that for most scientists and researchers, their main driver is not necessarily to commercialize something. Most people are mostly interested in doing their research and putting it out there, publishing it, right? So we're trying to change that mindset all the time and trying to get the scientists to think about, well, maybe if we commercialize this, right, first of all, you're going to have a greater impact in society, but you're also going to generate a new stream of revenue that can help your lab grow. And it can also, obviously, there's a personal benefit as well. So that's kind of the message that we try to convey to our researchers. So it's not just about the money, but it's also about the impact in the market. We have a whole ecosystem across the university. So just to give you some numbers, so you have some perspective, the University of Auckland is like a small town of 50,000 people. And so we work closely with the different departments in the business school to educate people around IP, business planning, commercialization in general, commercial law, right? All those topics that are very important when you're trying to start a company. So as I mentioned, we work closely with the business school, and we have an entrepreneurial program which helps students and staff members curate those ideas and help them come up with business plans and investment proposals, which we then take to our investment committees. So these are some of the cases that we see in our office all the time, right? So for example, someone thinks, oh, I've got this great idea, but I need to do some more experiments, and then I think the industry will be interested. Some people come to us with clients or industry partners who are already lined up and ready to go. Some people are more entrepreneurial and they want to start their own business. And so we facilitate that discussion with the university on how that employment transition should happen. And there's obviously the other side of things, which is licensing. No? Someone has a piece of software, they've got someone who's interested, especially in medical imaging, for example, and bioengineering. So we have specialized investment committees that meet every month. I think it's important to have those investment committees set up independently of the university. So we have experts dialing in from the United States and from Japan and from Australia. And they are members of our investment committee, independent. It's like an independent board. And they give us recommendations and feedback on where and how we should take that technology to market. So this is a very important piece in our process. So this is my team where I work, the investment commercialization team. We've got about 20 people in our team, and it's a mix of people with scientific business background and also IP attorneys and people who have experience in technology sales. So we're divided into two teams, the digital tech team and the biotech and medtech team. So let me talk a little bit about some of the questions that we look at, some of those factors that we use when we look at the first analysis or the first triage into one of the ideas, idea disclosures. So we look at, first of all, does this make sense? To which point have you proven the technology? Is it just an idea or is it almost a prototype, right? And then we look at how inventive, how obvious. So this is very similar to the type of questions you would have around filing a provisional. And also for that side of things, we obviously look at how we can protect if there's any protectable intellectual property. So I think a lot of people in science, a lot of scientists, they get confused between, they confuse IP with patents. And I think it's important to understand that IP is a lot more than just patents. So for a lot of these ideas, a patent might not be the best way to protect something. So we do a lot with trade secrets and also with copyright. Then we look at the market. So is there someone who's willing to buy this product or service? How big is that market? And then based on that, we make a decision whether we should invest further and keep on working with that researcher or that team, or whether we should give it back to them, allow them to publish. We also look at, okay, if this is going to be a company, who's your team? Do you have all of the skills that are necessary to run a business? Because a lot of the researchers, again, they're very strong, obviously, in science or engineering, but they're not necessarily strong in the business field, right? So we sometimes have to put other people with commercial experience around them to facilitate that startup creation and growth. And then we have a number of investment partners from outside New Zealand that once we get to that point, they provide capital and they provide feedback. So we have a network of investors that co-invest with us into the new companies. So what happens at a high level, as I mentioned before, it can be that we end up creating a new company. It can be that we end up licensing the technology, or it becomes some sort of industry sponsorship or industry contract research, or a consulting agreement, or we just say, please publish, go ahead and publish, and maybe come again when you have another idea or when you've refined the idea further. So our portfolio, as I mentioned before, we have around, I think 42, 43 companies now. There's more being created. We spin out 10 companies every year. They're all deep tech by definition. And so there's a mix of health tech and biotech, med tech, engineering, and digital tech companies in our portfolio. So the combined capitalization of our portfolio, of the companies in our portfolio, is over $1 billion at the moment. So these companies have done well and they're growing. So just to give you a taste, I'm not going to cover all of the companies, don't worry. Just to give you a little taste of some of the companies and technologies that are coming out of New Zealand and the University of Auckland. Ceres is a mature company looking at nanocoatings. PowerOn is soft robotics, and I'm sure our colleagues at Etri and KAIST will know a lot of this work. Tectonus, New Zealand, is much like Japan, very prone to earthquakes. So this is a technology that helps reinforce structures, large structures. Quantify Photonics. So Australia and New Zealand are very good. There's a very core group of people who are experts and world leaders in photonics. So this company does lab and other testing equipment for fibers and laser devices and so on. And this was recently invested by Intel. They led the last investment round. Vortex is a funny one because they create tornadoes, which is probably not, it's not as scary as it sounds. They are controlled small tornadoes which come out of using industrial residual heat. So this is basically generating free extra energy from that residual heat. Zeno, again in New Zealand, excuse me, very recently the space technology sector has increased a lot in number of companies and investment. You probably heard of Rocket Lab. So there's a lot of now startup companies, and we have the facilities to test space technology. This one is magnetic navigation in space. Dotterel is around noise cancelling hardware and software for drones and high fidelity communications. So that gives you an idea of some of our portfolio companies. This one is probably the biggest. Soul Machines is a digital avatar company, which Samsung Ventures actually invested in the last, I think, 2 rounds ago. And we've got other companies as well in the biotechnology and medtech. So New Zealand, and in particular the University of Auckland, is very strong in bioengineering. So we have a lot of medical technology companies looking at, for example, this one, gastric disorders. This one is looking at retina scans. And they're all growing quite fast. Typically, the first sort of milestone has to do with FDA certification, and then they launch in the US. We're also very strong in oncology, so cancer drugs, so we have a number of companies in that area. And just to give you an example of a company that was now quite a few years ago, it started out of a 10-year program of IP on wireless power, which is, again, another area where our university is quite famous for. This was turned into a company, so from the lab into a company, and after quite a few years, it was recently exited as an acquisition. And this one is another example of, in the biotech portfolio, of a company that has exited through an IPO in the New York Stock Exchange. So all of this money that we are now making because of the exits is now being reinvested into the new companies. So that's me. Thank you very much for your attention, and happy to take questions in the breaks or in the corridors. 감사합니다. Thank you.
네, 고맙습니다.
Thank you very much for your special lecture, Mr. Paulo Medrado Garcia. Please give him another big round of applause. Thank you very much again. We learned how the University of Auckland is managing and commercializing IPs. We've just heard the keynote speech and the special lecture, and both speeches will be uploaded on our official YouTube channel. You can watch them again. Now we are on the second floor. If you want to have more information on the attendance check of IP attorney, you can go to the reception desk. As I said earlier, on the first floor, we are showing booths of technical companies. So take a look at their technologies and products. At 10, we will begin with the second special lecture, and I'll be back by 1. Thank you.